You know how a dance challenge just absolutely blows up on TikTok and you start wondering, how did this get so big? Well, I want you to imagine that exact same viral energy, but almost 100 years ago. That's what the swing era was. This wasn't just some old-fashioned music. Nope. This was a massive cultural takeover, pretty much the original viral trend. So let's get into it.
So that's really the big question we're tackling, right? How did an entire vibe, a sound, a dance, a style, completely sweep across the world without a single smartphone or social media app to make it happen? It's kind of wild when you think about it.
Okay, so to really get how this happened, we have to start with the engine that powered this whole thing, the music itself. This was the beat, the pulse that got absolutely everyone hooked.
So what exactly was swing music? Well, it was this super high-energy jazz that you just couldn't sit still to. And what's crazy is that it got popular during the Great Depression, a really, really tough time for the country. It gave people this feeling of joy, an escape. It was pretty much the ultimate party playlist for a nation that seriously needed one. And the bands playing this stuff, they were called big bands. And yeah, they were basically the supergroups of the 1930s. I mean, we're talking 10, 15, sometimes 20 musicians all on one stage. You had the powerhouse brass section with trumpets and trombones, the smooth woodwinds, and then that driving rhythm section. All of it coming together to create this massive wall of sound that was impossible to ignore. So who was in charge of these huge bands? The band leader. And you got to think of them like a modern music producer or maybe a superstar DJ. They weren't just up there waving a little stick around. No way. They were the creative force. They picked the songs, they directed all the musicians, and they became the famous face of the whole operation. And believe me, this era had its A-listers. You had these legendary band leaders like Duke Ellington and Benny Goodman. They were household names. And then you had these incredible vocalists like Ella Fitzgerald and Billie Holiday, who would perform with the big bands and just became massive stars themselves. They added this whole new layer of personality to the music. But here's the thing. This incredible music, it wasn't just for listening. It sparked a whole movement. Literally. A series of high-energy dances that were basically the epic dance challenges of their time. If swing was the soundtrack, these were the moves that brought it to life. And the king of all the swing dances? That was the Lindy Hop. It came straight out of Harlem in New York, and it was absolutely electric. This wasn't some simple little dance. It was athletic, it was creative, and it was famous for its insanely fast footwork and these incredible aerial moves where dancers would literally fly through the air. So what was the secret sauce? What did it actually take to be a good swing dancer? Well, it really boiled down to four main things. You needed that fast footwork to keep up. You needed cool spins and turns, a really strong connection with your partner, and if you were really, really good, those high-energy aerials that just made the crowd go nuts. Okay, so we've got incredible music, we've got amazing dances. But how in the world did it spread everywhere so fast? This is where we get into the technology of the 1930s, the stuff that fueled this viral trend before viral was even a thing. Now, the tech might look totally different, but trust me, the idea behind it was exactly the same. Live radio broadcasts, that was their version of live streaming. Buying a vinyl record was just like adding a song to your favorite Spotify playlist. And instead of scrolling TikTok, people went to actual dance halls and clubs to see the latest moves and hear the newest hits in person. And I really can't overstate this. Radio was everything. It was the internet of its day. For the first time ever, someone living in a tiny town could hear a live performance from a big city club happening in real time. This is what connected the entire country and turned swing from just a local scene into a massive, nationwide phenomenon. And, like any huge trend, swing wasn't just a sound, it was a whole look. The fashion was both super stylish and super practical. Women started wearing these flowy skirts that were a bit shorter, so they had the freedom to do all those kicks and spins. Men looked sharp in their suits and hats, and everybody needed good shoes with flexible soles to keep up on the dance floor. It was all about looking cool while having the freedom to really move. So, great music, cool dancing, but why are we still talking about all this today? Well, because the swing era was about way more than just a good time. It had this deep, lasting impact on culture and society that we can honestly still feel. First off, you absolutely cannot talk about swing without talking about the Harlem Renaissance. Swing music was this powerful force that grew right out of this incredible explosion of African-American art and culture.
And in a really segregated America, it took the genius of black musicians, composers, and dancers from places like Harlem and put it on a national stage. This was revolutionary. It let the whole country hear and celebrate their creativity.
And get this, at a time when the country was in the middle of the Great Depression and jobs were almost impossible to find, the swing industry was like an economic engine. It created work for thousands and thousands of people, musicians, dancers, club staff, you name it. It was this whole ecosystem that helped keep local economies going when they needed it most.
So the big takeaway here? This was not just some flash in the pan. You can see how the seeds were planted in the 1920s, how it all just exploded in the 1930s, and its DNA is still all around us. You can literally hear the influence of swing in modern jazz and pop music, and you can see its spirit in dance communities all over the world. So if you only remember one thing from all of this, make it this. The swing era wasn't just a popular style of music. It was a powerful cultural force that gave an entire generation a reason to dance, to connect, and to feel some joy during one of the toughest times in history.
And that kind of leaves me wondering, and maybe you too. Think about the music, the dances, the memes, all the styles that are blowing up right now. Which one of them do you think has the power to be remembered and explained 100 years from now? What's our swing era?